Jason and Jill here.
We are sitting on a couch in the new green room here. We are backstage. Many of you never get backstage. We want to show you a quick look around at the things that have been happening back here that we finished just a month ago. And then we're going to head into sharing with you what we shared at the business meeting Sunday night about some very exciting next steps and what's coming very soon with phase 2 of our remodel in the worship center.
One of our goals is to have our buildings feel similar to the Archie campus. So some of the things you saw in Archie, we're starting to do here, like the carpet in the kids area is going to be the carpet in our area. The carpet in the foyer, or the flooring in the foyer is going to move into the next phases of remodel. You'll start to see it in some places. We both have the same stage flooring. So one of the cool things is we thought it was going to take 18 to 24 months after we finish this before we could start our next phase. But between KB, the budgeting process we just shared with you, and some allocation of resources, that we have enough to start this part of it in the beginning of January, in just about 4 months from now. So we're really excited about that. And that phase 2, which we thought would take 3 years to finish, it's possible will be finished by the end of 2022. And then we can start to move our resources towards the outside part. So excited about that. So here's what we're looking at for phase 2. Everything you see and touch will be replaced in here. All the carpet, all the seating. We will not replace the walls. We will paint the walls. House lighting, you can see it's dim and in various places, and we'll just get some great house lighting. They're at 75%. If it goes above that, they start popping and breaking. So we have to keep them there. So we want to bring this up to a good standard. We'll replace the foyer carpet in offices and repaint and upgrade furniture. In many cases, that is 12 to 15 years old. This phase will be done in 2 stages. One, the first part of the year, which will take a number of months. The second, as cash becomes available, will be scheduled the end of summer or early fall. Stage 1 of phase 2 will be the sanctuary, most of the sanctuary. Our goal is January, February to start with the seating in here. And after a lot of discussion, let me just quickly explain to you, we are going to stadium seating and moving away from the pews. Didn't know that would be outbursts of this excitement. So I'll just quickly show you. If you know this, but just let's do 1 second at a time, and you'll see what I'm talking about on the stains that are on our pews. We don't know what they all are, but they are all present and accounted for. We can go quicker. You can find one on almost every pew. Also, these are 42 years old, the first of the year. The padding is rough on them. Let's go to the next ones, Tracy. With COVID, what we've had happen is they said spray all your equipment, spray it all. Well, that has caused some things that was already starting to crack, but virtually on every pew, when you put the lights up in here, there's cracking that's going deep into the wood and into the issues. So I started asking someone who's in the staining and refinishing business, hey, what would it cost to do this? And they said, at least $40,000. What's that? Did someone? I'm good? Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. So they said about $40,000, but it might cost double that. Then you'd also have to reupholster the pews and do all the padding. So you're looking at, I don't even know, just to reupholster is $30,000. So then I called another company, showed them some pictures and said, hey, this is what we have. And they said, to fix this, you will have to ship out all of these pews. I'll show you a couple things. They was pointed to a couple websites. Here's one. The average cost to refinish a church pew is $120 to $200 per linear foot. Because, here's what I found out next. The next one will show you this. is the EPA requires you to remove all of them before they're stripped and restained. Because there's 125 in here, I called the person back. I said, does this seem right to you? And they said, well, to restain this many pews in this kind of area, you'd have to really shut things down for a couple of months because it would just be dangerous to breathe the air in here. And so if you were to add that up, you're talking $225,000 at the low end just to refinish the pews, up to $350,000 if it was the high end, to replace these, because these are solid oak. I mean, they are good, great pews, but over half of our, like you can go online and find a nice 4 foot, 8 foot line, and you can find a nice ones if you just bought them all bulk. Over half of this is custom made. So you have to custom make to repair this whole section here. They're meet at a certain angle. Anyway, so as we found that out, and done all this research, the pews, if you want one, they will be available shortly, I guess is my best way of saying that. And we're trying to find a company to buy them. That's having a hard time to do that. So if you do come and move one of the large ones, you will need 4 or 5 people to do that. If you'd like to have some for oak, make us an offer, and we'll give it to you. So that'll probably be how that works. So let me show you the seating we're looking at. This is called a series folding seat. This is actually my parents, and the church they interim at added these 5 years ago. These are those. This is from another angle, and this is actually the same distance between seats that we have. It's just the pew takes up so much, and especially if you're sitting in the balcony, the riser area, it's awkward. It's funny watching people try to get in up there. This is going to allow really 2 people can just stand right next to each other, and you can get through that. Some pros for the seating. The balcony areas, you just have a lot more room. Also, the seating, if you stand up in the balcony, it comes to about here. The new seats will come to here about, which will then also help us with modesty things when ladies are wearing dresses and all these. There's a lot of things there that'll help. This is my home church, Cedar Valley, that I went to high school. I went there my senior year and then through college. They just switched to these just a couple years ago. James River just switched to these last week. There's some others. So these I have some samples here for you if you want to come sit on them later. This is what they would look like in a little bit. So that will be cool. These are stain resistant. And so that doesn't mean don't just spill stuff on it on purpose, Stephanie. That's what it sounds like. Yeah, I'm bringing stuff in. So, but anyway, if you do, because we have seen that they do, so these are specially made to do that. They're also supposed to help keep puncturing away from happening. If something does happen to it, you can actually in about 30 seconds just take this off and replace it. Also, each of these, you can unzip them or unclip them, and then you can just replace the cover if something happens. The thought would be to do it like in a 3-tone color, probably not in that color scheme, but something like this color scheme that would happen. We'll have to make that decision soon. Let's see. We'll also be adding, these have seat numbers on them. A lot of concerts and different things do not want to come here right now simply because we don't have that option. They'll have communion cup holder will be here. We are not doing seats we are not doing this. What is that, an armrest? So when you sit in it, you can kind of sit in it like a pew. You can't really tell. Or if your kid's sitting here, you have room. So it'll act kind of like it does now, but also give you individual space to sit in. So you can come and sit on those, not right now, and in just a second. Here's a design of what it's going to look like. It's going to be a little different. We're going away from a center aisle. We have not had a wedding in here in 5 years, so it doesn't seem like there's a huge demand for that. And instead of 6 aisles, there'll be 4 down here. And then that will have, it's about 875 seats. We're lowering the seat level just a little bit. This is about 1,100 when they're all in. And then we'll have another about 75 to 100 to give for flexibility. If we want to add more in for a big event or something, or we just need it, we can do that. The cost per seat is about $170 a seat. We are praying about these. There's cup holders there, but anyway. You all bring cups in here, I see you, so I don't know if we want a place to hold them or not, but there are places for the pens and all that in there as well. So at $170 a seat, give or take, depending on the accessories that we have, we're exploring putting some lighting in to help for concerts or other things that would help on the floor. I don't know if we need that at all, but it'd be about $160,000 to $200,000. So just to give you that price range of what that's going to look like, which would still be cheaper than actually fixing the pews based on the research that we had. And we'll have new seats instead of 42-year-old seats when we're done. In January, what would happen is we would remove all the seating in here, and we would start working on the lighting, all the carpeting, all of that first. So you're looking at a 6 to 10 week project with maybe all or most of the seating gone, which so then we would rent seats or bring in a mishmash of seats, or say bring a lawn chair, something like that, and we'll try to make it fun and do something creative during those weeks because we'll need to be having service. So 2 things on fundraising. If you'd like to give towards this, you sure can. We have already set aside about 90% of the budget that's going to be needed for that. But if you're interested and want to say, we could give to our family $170 a chair, just mark it Kingdom Builders Worship Center. We'll probably do that for ours. The only thing we would ask is if you would do that, if you're leaning to do that above your tithes and your current Kingdom Builders giving. If you're already giving to Kingdom Builders, you're helping this project. But if you want to do that just for fun, our family may do that. And then that's our seat for life. I'm kidding. We're not going to do that. That would be bad. Last thing for me is we have 75% of the budget set aside for the missionary and training program we presented to you on Vision Sunday a year and a half ago. That's an absolute miracle. We are so excited about that. We have students that are coming out of college or grad school that have to have 2 years on-the-job training somewhere before they're allowed to go full-time into the mission field. Oftentimes, they're ending up at places that are unhealthy, that are difficult to be in, finding even a hard time getting hired because who wants to hire someone for 2 years? So we have moved Pastor Chris to executive pastor as of last month, so congratulations, Pastor Chris. In the meantime, he's doing a couple different roles, and you heard from Stephanie, who's helping take one of those roles. But the other one is in May. Our hope is to bring a missionary in training who would be here for 2 to 3 years, funded out of that 10% tithe to missions. And then they would be under Pastor Chris. They would go through a mentorship training program with our staff, be trained in sound and kids ministry, youth ministry, because often when they go in the field, they're the only one doing everything. And then our hope is to give them free housing. We're looking at possibly putting a house here with some help from some construction people on that empty lot. If you have one that we could use, a random house sitting around, that would be great as well. But we want to give it free housing, and at the end of those 2 to 3 years, what they would have spent on housing, what we would have spent on housing for them, we pay off their student loans and then take them on, at least up to $20,000 or $30,000, not all of it, and then take them on as one of our primary missionaries. And then the hope would be that we send teams, now that we've had a 3-year relationship with them, and we go minister and bless them and just do something and just do that every other year. Jill, you need more than 2 minutes, but I think you'll take it.